Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Wicked Art. It's Wicked here. So I put out a little message uh, on Sunday, um, just letting everybody know that I'm kind of like behind on some personal projects, like the graphic novel and some other little commission things that I'm doing for somebody, and focus so much on getting content out on the channel, I forgot to focus on my work. So I'm just going to have more limited videos during the week, so I do apologize for that. But once I get back on track, we'll come back with more. But I figured today would do the art challenge of just drawing an ink pen. So I think the best way for me to do that, I was thinking about, how can I do this and draw without messing it up. So I figure I could do kind of like a paint approach and just kind of do the silhouette of everything, and just kind of build out from there. So like in certain areas that I want to highlight, I'm probably going to just build those shapes out. So like some dark spots, like I'm starting with the eye here, and so like where there would be like a shadow type look around there, so I would just fill that in and just fill and build out my shapes from there, just to have specific areas to kind of highlight the image, kind of like using the negative space, like where there's no drawing at would be where I would have certain things. So like from the eye I could do like the hair. And granted, this is why this is an art challenge. I've honestly never just drawn in pen before, so I'm trying to do my best not to mess this up. But that wouldn't be an art challenge if we didn't make a few mistakes. But again, I'm going to do my best to kind of not mess that up. So what are we drawing exactly? I don't know. I'm just kind of going with it for now. So like right now I'm kind of building out like the lips and the mouth shape down into the chin. Just trying to see what I can do with the negative space here and build something up. And again, it's probably not going to be perfect, but we'll see what we can do with this. So what I'm kind of thinking right now is maybe doing like a Japanese samurai warrior. So I'm trying to get like a good picture of what would look good with like a top knot or something like that. Now I know you've probably seen people who draw in the ink, they probably just kind of start contour sketching and stuff like that. Sometimes it's just easier for me just to kind of picture what I see in my head and try to just outline that. Um, so yeah, so like what I'm working on now would would be like the hair that comes out of the top knot. And I mean, I guess in a way, some might think it's like cheating to go this route. Because, like I said, you've probably seen people just go ahead, just start sketching and bring it to life. I'm kind of working with the negative space in my head to bring out what I can. Leave like a little gap there. Okay, so where I'm seeing the image now, I can tell I'm kind of a little off on the head, but it'll be okay. So just getting in other parts. And what it'll do is it'll kind of look more like a splash page almost, where the ink's just kind of splashed out. And just in order to keep things somewhat even, when I kind of work back and forth with it, again, just kind of judging what looks the best. So like I could go from here and I just start filling it in. So I'm just using a Sharpie pen, which is something you can use. But if not, you could attempt, just doing this with a regular just ballpoint pen. What I'm hoping is that I don't get too carried away and burning through my my ink pen here. But if not, what I might do, and it could possibly throw the image off, just depending on the ink. But I may just have to bust out a ballpoint pen with this, in case I run out of ink with what I'm working with here. So as you can tell, this is going to take some time to do. Again, like I always say, good art takes time, so it's okay to take your time doing it. And I know it may make the video a little longer than it should be. I'm trying to shoot for, under an hour on this, but I make no promises. And the reason why I'm doing this live is my whole premise is, the real-time art tutorial. So I want to make sure that anyone who's watching this that wants to follow along and try to recreate, you are more than welcome to try. So we're just kind of working on filling it in. I'm trying to make it as solid as I possibly can. So we're kind of doing almost like a silhouette. Outline of our image. So you can see as I start filling it in, it'll start looking more like what I'm going for. And like I said, if I run out of ink, I may have to pause the video and go grab an ink pen. But yeah, just try to kind of fill it in as solid as possible. It's okay if, like, you know, like right in here I got like a few white open spots. I'm not going for absolute perfection. But we are trying to get as close to filled in as possible. Okay. So it's a little time consuming, and I'm sure those that want to, you know, rush through it and just get it done, it'll probably end up looking a little bit more chicken scratchy. But that's fine if that's how you want to do it. You don't want to spend too much time filling it in. That is your personal art choice and preference. But basically what I'm doing is I'm just trying to take it a section at a time so that I can build off of that. So like once I get done with this head, I'll be able to kind of see what it looks like and where I want to take different shapes to. Because I almost want to go for like like an ink spattered look to it. So again, it doesn't have to be perfectly solid. Just solid enough. But yeah, when you're drawing and you're trying to learn different things, I guess what we're doing is we can kind of go over some stuff. You know, things to practice is to, like, a lot of people when they draw, they tend to, you know, go like, hey, I've practiced drawing hands for, you know, 2 weeks, and you know I'm just not getting better. I'm not doing, you know, what I'm supposed to be doing. I should be, you know, better at drawing hands. And what you have to stop and tell yourself is it really because you've been drawing hand for 2 weeks that you think you should be better, or is it the method or the technique that you're using to draw those hands? Like maybe you need to try a different approach, right? And there's like tons of, like if you take for example, if you go back to my video on how to draw hands and you practice that and you practice that and it's just not working for you, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's wrong. Maybe my technique is not for you. Maybe there is another video you could find that has a different method of drawing hands, and then that might be the one that works out for you. Because that's the thing with art. There's a ton of different methods and ways of doing things. Like there's tons of people who like to just draw the lines, the contour lines. You know, like I do with hands, as I, you know, start with a square or rectangle and just build out the shape from there. There's people who draw the bones first and then draw over the top of that. You know, whatever is going to be your best method of study to actually show improvement will be when you find the method that's right for you. Okay? So just always keep that in mind. Don't ever give up because you're not improving. Try your best to find different methods and ways to approach. Like there is a stigma that goes around, and you know I may have talked about this before, and I'm sure there are several other artists out there who have said the same thing, but this idea of that you can never use a reference, you know, is ridiculous. Like everything has to be from imagination, and imagination is not what you think it is. Like a lot of people think that imagination means like, oh, I just drew this out of my head without looking, and that's not really drawing from imagination. What you're utilizing is things that you have observed in the actual world and have imprinted that in your mind to know what it looks like, right? So that's, if that's what you're referring to as drawing from imagination, well then your best bet is going to be using references as much as possible, and then in your head it will be stuck in there what a hand looks like. So there is no drawing and making up completely from imagination. Everything stems, from something you have seen before. Like prime example is this. I'm going for this little samurai silhouette here, and I'm basing it off of whether it's, I don't know, like Samurai Champloo, Bleach, just whatever, Rurouni Kenshin, any Kurosawa films, things like that I have seen that have that typical samurai look to it. That's going to allow you to kind of see in your head what it is that you're trying to draw, right? So I'm trying to think of right now, like, do I want to do traditional? Well, since I'm doing kind of an open top knotted looking samurai, I'm going to come and start thinking about maybe doing more of like a robe kind of look. For the samurai instead. Um, how much of it do I really need to show? Um, how much of the body do I need to include? Thinking about, especially with the ink, just thinking about like how to, like if I saw an outline or silhouette shape of this character that I'm picturing, how much of it would I actually need to draw to get me the detail that I'm looking for, right? So you can tell just by what I'm doing, you can already see how I'm using the negative space to build out the rest of the face for me. So like most of the areas that are going to be big and solid for the body are going to be what takes up most of the space in black. And this is kind of good practice too. Like when you're designing a character, usually what you want to give it is what's called a read, a good silhouette read. Like how is it reading if it's just in all black, right? So you could take something that you've drawn, put it in the computer, go into something as simple as like Microsoft Paint. Honestly, like it doesn't have to be anything super fancy. And just kind of trace around it and fill it with a paint bucket of black and see how the silhouette is reading. And usually just by the silhouette of it, you can tell whether it looks cool, whether it's going to read as somebody unique. If it was just a plain Jane person and it just reads as, oh, that's human, then it's like, okay, that's not very interesting. But like, for example, Goku, right? The silhouette of Goku that makes him easily recognizable, that when, they start drawing, and if they were to do a silhouette, they'd be like, oh, it's that hair, possibly the muscle build would be a good indicator that makes Goku recognizable. Okay. So we're just going to continue to build out from here. Let's see, let's start. I want to kind of build up the arm area of, because we're going to kind of go for like a crossed arm look, maybe. Let's see. So like, what things do I need to build up? Again, with the negative space that's visible. Right, so I can just have little things inside of there. We could take and come back out this way. Right, because I want to keep some of excuse me, that sunlight reaching out on there. And you know, how much of this I actually do will just depend itself on honestly just how much space I have left on the paper. So I'll try to get as much of him in here as I can. So again, just thinking about different folds and things like that in the sleeve. Again, what other negative space I want to leave open, because I want this to be one of those almost exaggerated robe type things where you know, it's a little bit longer than it actually is. Almost like the hands would have to come out of the sleeve for that. Okay. Now I don't want to go down too far just yet, just because that's just going to be even more filling in space that I have to do, and at least that way, like I said, if I need to stop because I'm getting too big, I can change it up. Okay, so I'm going to start filling that in, going back. But what I'm going to do is, like I said, I like to keep things even, so we're going to kind of try to build out this next part. Again, using these exaggerated lines to kind of not only outline the back of what we got, but just kind of give it more of an ink splash kind of look. Okay, so I'm just going to keep building that down. We're just going to keep filling this in. But yeah, while we're doing that, like I said, just again, apologies, I'm just going to shorten up the videos, but something you can do to help me, you know, make sure you get the things that you want to see on this video while I'm trying, not this video, but just on the channel, while I'm trying to catch up on projects and stuff, is, leaving a comment helps a lot. And I don't mean necessarily just for the growth of the channel. I just mean for getting you the content that you want. A comment just telling me, hey, could you do an art lesson on how to, draw fish? Just throw something out there, just how to draw fish. Well, it's going to be helpful if you let me know that that's what you want to see. I'm honestly just been kind of just winging it on here. I get some people that comment, and anyone who has commented will tell you I will respond. Whether it's just something simple as you're just saying hi or whatever. I did a collaboration with another viewer not too long ago with the Spider-Man Christmas thing. If you want to do a collaboration and work together, I'm not above doing that and featuring other people's artwork. As I look at art differently. I'm not I guess you would say like an art snob. I don't view art as something that has to be good or bad because it is so subjective, right? I mean, everything that, if I was to ask you like what kind of art is your favorite, and if you said anime, and then that's it, and then you look at like something like what's a good, like SpongeBob, right? And you're like, yeah, that's just not as cool as art, it's a very simple. Well, I mean, but somebody else might think that is the most absolute coolest thing on the planet. Art is so subjective, and I like seeing all forms of it. Now, I will admit, I do have a limitation on what I consider to be, good art, and just like, for instance, like if you just drew me a stick man with his hand in the air, just looking like he's waving, well, yeah, it's not really something you put a lot of effort in. So I can't sit there and say it's bad art, but it's just something you could have put a little bit more time and effort in learning how to do. But I mean, overall, it's not, subjectively speaking anyway, it's not something that I would be interested in and going, oh yeah. But if you're drawing and you're actually putting effort into something, and let's just give an example. Let's say you were like 21, but you're still drawing like what most people would consider a fifth grader would do. I'm not going to bash on your art. I'm going to celebrate that with you, and I'm going to draw with you. So like if you wanted to do, when you make a video of yourself drawing Spider-Man or Goku or whoever, and we both just kind of draw our versions of it and just kind of share our artwork, I mean, that's great. That's what it should be about, is bringing everything together to kind of celebrate our passions for art and our growth. And I can already tell I'm kind of running out of ink here on this. I might have to pause the video and go get me an ink pen. But yeah, leaving a comment will really help me make sure that you get the content that you want from this channel. And you can see how I got like little bits of white in there. That's okay. I can't. There's no way I can make it perfectly solid without completely draining every ink pen that I have in the house. So we're gonna do our best. I think I'll finish this row, and then I'm gonna have to pause and go get another pen. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna have to get another pin here soon. And hopefully that pin that I get is able to get just as dark as this. We are running low. Okay, so I'm gonna go get another pin real quick, alright? Alright, so I found me some ink pens. Hopefully it's not too much of a difference. It's gonna be that kind of ball point, so it's gonna be a little bit maybe shinier, but hopefully it's not too bad. So we'll just kind of continue on from here. So at least on the camera it's looking okay. It's kind of shiny in real life view from me. So I'm just kind of like putting out some jaggedness too, just to kind of give it that kind of inky kind of look to it. But yeah, we're just gonna continue to kind of fill in where we're going. Again, just kind of get that splotchy look and just kind of pull it out. Little pieces here and there. At least get it down to a point where you know, we can start filling it in. So we're just going to fill that in all the way across. Again, it's a little bit on the shiny side from my point of view, but at least on the camera it'll be nice and black for y'all. So just gonna fill that in across. So like I said, essentially what we're working with here is just a silhouette of a character. So, I mean, it's not like drawing a fully detailed thing. Like I said before, you probably could say this kind of cheating to do it that way, but I think it'll give it a nice, unique look when we're done. And like I said, you really have to kind of have some patience for something like this, especially since you're filling it in all the way. Because, like, obviously, if I took a digital approach to this, I could just as easily have just outlined this and then just boom, boom, paint bucket filled it in and been done with it. But there's no real challenge in that. So I want to work it down to a point. I probably won't go the full length of the body. Probably just go down to a point maybe where we have the kind of a silhouette of the samurai swords, maybe. A good stopping point for that. And then I want to try to add in something in the background to make it pop, but it won't be anything complicated. We could probably do like a was thinking like maybe like a circle or red dot to kind of represent that Japanese aspect of it. So we'll just finish filling this in. And I brought an extra pen just in case this one runs out. Hopefully it doesn't. So another method I guess I could have used for this is kind of do what I'm doing, just kind of scribbling in, but like not fill it in all the way. And I could have used some India ink and just kind of brushed in the rest of it, but we're going to stick with this challenge and just using the ink pen alone. So I just wanted to give you some other ideas of how you could do something like this. And I'm trying to fill it in as much as possible, but it's going to leave some of these white streaks, but I think it kind of gives it kind of a cool look to it. Maybe make like a belt string right here. And start coming down into where I'm going to make our sword. So we want to kind of bring this in here. Like that. And then I can kind of take it down at an angle to meet it here. So the challenge that comes with drawing in just ink pen only is if I was to make a mistake right now, there's no fixing that unless I wanted to cheat and use some whiteout or something, but I'm not going to. If I mess up something, we'll do like Bob Ross says and just make it a happy accident. But there is one part where, like I said, when we do the little background piece, I'll probably just use a marker for it. Even though it's technically not an ink pen, I just want to have a final product that looks, you know, good with something contrasting to the black that we have in there. So let's bring this down a little bit more. At an angle. And then we can make it look like I have a sword, so I'm going to have to be real careful with this, just to make sure that this shape looks accurate. So we'll kind of come out. We'll make this the short sword. Kind of bring that back, and then we'll make it look interesting. A little bit more splotchy. Come out this way, and that could be kind of like the start of the top of the longer sword. As most samurai had the two swords. They had the short sword for inside fighting, and the long sword for more open spaces. I want it to look a little on the jagged side a little bit, so I'll kind of bring that out. And then let's kind of do the same thing over here. Just kind of add a little splotchiness to represent kind of like the top part of the sword. just so we can gain some separation in there. So I'll finish filling that in. Okay, and then what I want to do is, because we have that coming out, kind of make like another splash right here. Have that come down as the sword, like on top of it. So I'm kind of thicken that up a little bit. And then what I want to do is just kind of bring in another line, keep it somewhat close, just again so we kind of get that impression of a sword coming out. So we can kind of round that off down here. Keep it looking a little choppy. Maybe thicken to a point. We want to kind of have the rest of the robe right down here, almost like it's blowing off into the wind. Like that. And then I can just use the rest of this kind of give it an edge, leave like a slight split in it, just to show some more reflective areas on the sword. So that can be our piece there. And then I can come back over here to the front, because we want to kind of make like the front hilt of the sword, but we want to kind of keep within the same style, so I'm just going to kind of break it up a little bit. And just bring that down into the picture. And then we can kind of get the bottom piece of the robe here. And just continue filling that in, going back to a point. Let's kind of draw this out some. Just make a little bit more choppiness to it, just to keep it intriguing. And we'll close it off right there. So I'm just going to fill that in. Maybe we can extend this out just a little bit more. Like that. Then we can just fill in the rest of the picture. Okay, so this is one method. I mean, obviously I could have drawn out like a fully comic book like character or whatever, but I wanted to try something different and just working with these silhouetted shapes to just give it a different challenge to it, you know, because like I said, this is a technique that you could use for like painting, right? You could learn how to see just the shadow shapes that make up, because you can see how it's kind of built up our face in that area. So sorry if you can hear that pin scratching on there. I don't know, maybe it'd be white noise for some of y'all that like to watch my videos to go to sleep too. They're so long. Okay, and we'll just keep working our way down. Now, the challenging part for me here is going to be plotting out this circle in the background because, again, with a pin, if I mess up, then there's not a whole lot I can do to fix the mistake. So I'm going to try my best to really envision that circle going around. Okay, so we're almost there. Just kind of bring it down. Work our way over. And the other thing this will do, this will give you a nice wrist and finger and hand workout here. I can already feel my fingers starting to cramp up a little bit. If any of y'all are feeling that, those of you following along, might need to take a little break and work it out. So you can always stop and just relax your hand and flex it back and forth. Get it to relax. Now if it's cramping up too bad, you probably just need to stop altogether and come back to it, because not going to do any good as an artist if you can't use your hands, can you? Unless you learn to do some really skilled stuff I've seen some people do. There's some artists who don't have hands, they use their feet. Some that just use their mouth to paint. It's pretty amazing. You should go look it up. Okay. So we're almost there. Let's see, I'm going to try something in here. I'm going to see if I can split this. Let's see what that would look like. Might be able to just keep that like that. Yeah, we can keep that like that. It kind of looks cool. Okay. So now I have the main image done. Now I want to kind of work in, like I said, this circle, but I need to kind of plan, you know, how much space it's actually going to take up with drawing this. So I'm going to go very light with my pen, barely putting any pressure on it, and it is not going to be a perfect circle by any means or stretch of the imagination, because again, drawing a circle and pen. Now, could I have gone and found a circular object to use? Yes, of course, but again, we're trying to keep it a challenge. So I'm going to thicken this up and give it like a black outside edge to it. And then we can color that red inside the circle. I'm going to come over here. We're going to kind of meet it in the middle up towards the top. Okay, so I'm just kind of thickening the circle. Just keep that edge going. Like I said, it won't be a perfect circle, but it'll be round nonetheless. Okay, switch back over to this side. So like I said, my goal is to just kind of meet it in the middle. So keep going up top with it. And we're almost there. The last part's going to be the easiest part. Putting that red in there. And that's the other reason I'm kind of giving this like a thick circle edge, is so when I go with the marker, I can go pretty fast and loose, filling it in, and it won't affect the image too much, because I'll have these nice thick black edges. And that's the other reason I'm trying to fill it in as much as possible too, so it doesn't bleed through the empty hole spaces. Okay, so that takes care of our ink. Now I want to get me kind of like a vivid red marker, or deep red. Okay, now I'm gonna do, so I don't bleed through, I'm gonna put this magazine up underneath. You can use anything. It's got some thickness to it. Okay, and I'm just gonna take my marker and we're going to fill in our circle. So I'm using the wide chisel on my Oahu or Ohu, can't ever pronounce it, markers. I'm praying that I have enough marker in there to actually finish the image. And I may go back over it with a different one too if I don't like the color tone, because like on the camera it's kind of coming off like a red orange. I'm looking for more of a deep red. And some of y'all may be looking at this and go, oh no, I liked it better without the color in there. Well, I apologize. This is how I'm seeing it in my head. This is how I want to end up with it. So, might be looking for a darker red here soon. Go over it one more time. Like I said, for me sitting here, it just looks red. But with that light that's coming off of my lamp light is giving it kind of a orangey tone to it. Okay, that's giving it kind of a orangey look. I'm gonna see if I can find me a darker red, something more on the vivid side, and see what it does. See if it'll darken it up some, and give it a little bit of a darker tone. So I'm just using vivid red. The last one was kind of like a rose color, so we're just gonna go over it again, kind of darken it out. See if I can try the other end. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of come back into these areas and try to fill them in as dark as possible. Okay, so that completes the challenge, but what I want to do now is solidify what I have with a black marker. Okay, so challenge complete, but I want to really make sure that I bring this back out, because I think my decision to use the color kind of took out some of that dark look to it. And this might help me get rid of some of the sheen and shine. So we can see how that's kind of filling it in for us and darkening it out a little bit more. So I'm really just kind of just tracing back over what I have. And filling in the central parts. Just again, just so it's all nice and dark, because even though I completed the challenge, I still want it to read and look nice when I'm done. Switch to the thicker side, kind of brush it in quicker. That's the nice thing with these alcohol markers, is they got the different sides to them. So you could think of like the one being like a big brush stroke, to fill in your center gaps faster and easier, and then I can come back with the other side to kind of hit up the edges. Okay, so we're going to finish down into here. With the bigger side. I can switch back to my thicker side and fill that in that way, and come back and hit up the outside edge. Okay. So we're just kind of solidifying everything. You can still keep it loose and sketchy. I'm not trying to like necessarily refine the line work. I'm just trying to make it darker. And we just got a few more spots. We'll be all done. So while I'm doing that, if you like what you saw and you want to learn some more, feel free to like and subscribe, share, leave a comment if there's things you want to see on the channel. They're much appreciated. Other than that, like I said in the beginning of the video, I do apologize in advance because there'll be about 1, maybe 2 videos per week until I'm finished with these projects that I've been procrastinating on. So I do apologize for the inconvenience on that, but once I'm done, I'll be back in full force on that, where we can have a video every day. Or if you just like it how it is with just a couple videos, let me know in the comments, and we can just keep it like that. Okay? So that's going to do it for our art challenge. Thank you for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. And until next time, keep on sketching, and I will see you in the next one. All right? Bye.